This is the old man again. An hour with my father, raising Nativity. Hey there, Nativity. How you doing, my love? Today is November the 6th. It's the 6th or the 5th? It's the 5th. No, it's the 6th. Because you 7 months old today. Happy monthly birthday, baby girl. You are getting big and you're thriving. You are a beautiful child and I love you. The last video I done, it was about what happened on October the 31st, Halloween, and how bad that day was for me, and the thing that I done that caused your mother and you and your sister to leave my life. And I tried to give account what happened and did not know would y'all ever forgive me or would I ever see you again. So neither I nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard which followed me, none of us put off our clothes. Me and your mother finally had a conversation. It wasn't that I was trying to avoid her, but I was trying to get myself spiritual mind to receive whatever she had to say about the incident that happened. And in my discussion or apology, there are certain things that I left out because I was too ashamed to say, or to say to you, or to let your mother know something that God had said to me 2 days before that incident happened. Some of our daughters are brought unto bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them. I was too ashamed and scared to say these things to you all. I was very angry when I heard their cry in these words. There's a place, and I can't talk about the experience that other people have with God. And I can't say that somebody believes in God or they do not believe in God. I can't say how God deals with other people. Only thing I know, how God deals with me and the relationship that I have with God, and how He are so disappointed in me because I'm not doing the things that He would have me to do. I need to tell you a story about a situation, the reason why I'm too embarrassed or did not want to tell your mother the whole truth about something that happened previous couple of days before what made y'all not to want to come home, or she wanted to end our relationship. And it's a long story, and I need to tell the whole story in order for it to be complete. I don't know, do you really want to hear it or not, Nativity? I don't even know will it have any effect on your life, but you need to know what your father has been going through his whole life with his relationship with God. It is well documented that I said in previous videos that God told me when I was in the 3rd grade that whatever I had to do in life, I had to do it. I had to 40 years old, 35 to 40 to do it. And that I can only have one wife. Yeah, that's you in the background. You and your mother just walked in. So is she gonna sit here and yes, y'all made it back home. she forgave me, and we are trying to recompense what happened. But it's so much deeper than what it was the surface of the story that I told on on Halloween night. But I want to tell you a background. I'm gonna have to go back 20 something years. Like I said, it's well documented on these videos that I said that God told me that whatever I do in life, I had to the age of 35 to 40, and I can only have one wife. And I always thought I was gonna die at the age of 35. And I always told you the story that my father one that passed at that age. But I want to tell you a situation that happened that gonna reflect on what happened. The reason why I was so scared to tell your mother what God said to me with a question she asked. I'm gonna tell you why I feel that way. When I was 35, my father died. I think right after my father died, or right before my father died, I met this young lady. I'm not gonna call her name because she might not want to be named to be called. I met her. My brother was having a cookout, and I met her, and we were playing cards and stuff, and I was talking. I'm kind of a flirter, so I was kind of flirting with her. And anyway, we kind of got together and we started dating each other. And I ended up moving in with her. And in the midst of me moving in with her, she was married, but she was separated for several years before I met her. So her and her husband wasn't together. We had a pretty good relationship. I mean, I loved her, she loved me. We used to have fun together. We used to do things. It was a real nice relationship. But one day, she used to go to church every now and then. It wasn't like every Sunday, but she did go to church. Like I said, she was married before. I wasn't even married. Wasn't even thinking about marriage or even getting close to being married. One Sunday she went to church. And I stayed home. And she came home and said, "Lynn, I got baptized today." I said, "What?" She said, "I got baptized today." Out of no way. The first thing that came out of my mouth when she told me she got baptized, I told her I could never touch her again because she was still married. I wasn't serving God. I told her I could not touch her again because she was still married, and now she gave her life to God. She told me these words. She said, "I got to die. I got to pay for my sins. We ain't about to do that." I told her, I said, "No, sister, I cannot touch you again." I said, "I can't be with you if you married and you done gave your life to God. And I cannot be with you." So I moved out of her bedroom into another room in the house. And every day she'd tell me, "This ain't going to work." I said, "Sister, I'm not going to touch you. I can't touch you. God is not going to be pleasing to God." Like I said, I was not nobody to go into church. But instantly when she told me she was baptized, I knew that it would not be right before God for me to mess with that woman again. Even though her and her husband separated for many years before then. I must have stayed in that room maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Not what you call them. And one night she came in there and said, "Nigga, I don't care what. You're gonna have to do something." And I gave in. So eventually I moved back into a room. And I moved back into her room. After that day I moved back in her room, seemed like we started having problems. It was like things were never the same again. It was it was something, one thing after another. Nothing major, but it was like something was trying not for us to make it. So we end up falling apart. And we tried to work it out. I moved out, moved back to Columbia. She stayed in down in Sumter. I moved back to Columbia. And at that time, my kids, Tiny, your sister's mother died, and we was all staying together in a trailer. And she used to come up and visit on the weekend. And like I said, things ain't never been the same. And one Sunday she came up, her and her sons. She had three boys. They came up to visit, and me and her left her three boys with your sisters and brothers in the house. I don't remember how many was in there. Anyway, when we got back, your sister and them done made they baby sister at that time fought with her middle son. They about the same age. Had them fighting. She done beat him up. So when she came there, she was angry because he was crying because your sister Tanisha done beat him up. That woman left out of that house, and I never seen her or talked to her until 20 years later, 20 something years later. And at that time, I had done got married when she reached back out. But like I said, documented how my marriage went. It didn't went good. It was, it was, I'm not gonna say, I guess I use the term your mama like to use. Thank God for the children. It's one of them situations. But I done told the story how me and my wife met. We never had sex before we got married. We knowed each other 3 days, and I asked her to marry me. First year and a half was good. We lost two children, two pregnancy in that time. Anyway, like I said, I didn't see that woman for 25 years. For 18 years, I was faithful to my wife, not dealing with nobody. And me and her was not together. Because God told me when I was in the third grade, I can only have one wife. And I understood that I took a vow to her through goodness, good times, bad times, sickness, to death do us part, rich or poor. But she always said that she never said them vows. She didn't say that she will be with me through rich and poor, through sickness and health, to death do apart. That was something she always told me. I ain't never said that. So you can't hold me to that. But my love for God kept me faithful to her for 18 years. And out of that, at that time, 18 years, me and her might have stayed in the house after the first year and a half, might have shared the same house or bed, maybe 365 days. For 18 years, that's all the time that we ever spun together. But I was faithful to her. I was faithful to my vows. But I always kept a prayer life. to God. I always, because my oath was not only to her, my oath was to God. And I treasure that oath. God said it's best not to make an oath than make an oath and don't keep it. So after 25 years, that same young lady that I met, that I was with before I met my wife, got in touch with me. And she came up and visited me one day. And we were just sitting out talking. She said, Lynn, I don't feel like I don't want to drive home. Can I stay tonight? I said, yes, you can. She said, we ain't going to do nothing. I said, I ain't worried about it. I ain't trying to do nothing. We laid in the same bed. She slept. Next morning, she got up and went to work. Went back home. And one day, you know, we used to spend time together just talking and stuff like that. It wasn't nothing sexual or nothing like that. And we were listening to her. She took me to get something to eat one day, afternoon. It was late night. I remember just as well. It was, she took me to Wingstop. And when we was coming back home, she had a radio on R&B station. And that R&B station played a song that I used to play right after me and her broke up. I used to play it over and over again. And that was The Love We Had Stayed on My Mind. I used to play that thing over and over and over again. And that came on the radio. And I told her, I said, cut that off. I said, I can't listen to that kind of music because it shows me how lonely I am. And I'm tired of being lonely. I used to ask God on a regular basis, Lord, would I ever know the touch of another woman? Would I ever, or I'm going to spend the rest of my life alone? I'm getting up in age. I think at the time I was, 58? It had to be 58 because it had to be about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Eventually, me and her used to talk. We ain't, I said, Lord, I'm tired of being alone. I need to know the love of a woman. So I called her one night. I said, I'm coming down there. It was after 18, 19 years before I ever touched anybody else after me and my wife was through. And I touched her and we tried to rekindle something we had. But you got to remember that it would never work when she was married and I was single. We tried to rekindle something. But it was something that could never work because she asked me a question one day. She said, Lynn, if your wife come back and say she want to get back together, would you do it? I said, of course I will. I said, yes. I said, you might don't want to be in this relationship. She told me she's a big girl. I got big girl panties on. If it come to that, I can handle it. I said, you sure? She said, yes. I said, sister, I said, I got to get back to my studies and the work of God. I said, it's going to come a day when I start getting serious about God. I'm going to wake up in the morning one day and going to tell you that we through because I got to be about God's business. And I cannot be with you and do work of God. Remember, God told me I could only have one wife. And I had to cannot be with another woman doing God's work. In our relationship, our second try, She had a spirit of jealousy. She always thought that I was trying to get with this other young lady, or because my friend used to do a lot of photography over here and having women over here half naked and stuff, and always accused me or me and him that we was having sex with them young ladies, which we never did. Never. And there was plenty of them coming through him. But it was a business thing. It was not nothing sexual. Not once did I ever touch one of them women in an unmanner or said anything out of them. She was so jealous because I gave a young lady a place to stay because at that time COVID was going on and her whole family got COVID and she needed a place to stay to keep from getting COVID. She was so jealous of that girl being in the house. So one Saturday morning she woke up and said that she's gonna leave. I ain't never coming back. You doing something? How you gonna get what you say? You and God's my witness. I never been inappropriate with that woman. But after she said that and left out the house, me and the young lady did start messing around. It wasn't my aggressor. The woman came down one stage and said that you're gonna do what you need to do. She did something similar to something what your mother done to me. She came in the room with a towel on her, talking about giving her a massage. I don't know where that come from, but that's something your mother done to me in our first encounter. That's the second time that happened with your mother. But anyway, this young lady, me and her was in a relationship that it could not work. We were two opposite. She was not a bad person, but it could never work. I was trying to still get myself back with God. I know I needed to get myself with God. And I cannot be with a woman that is not my wife and saying it's pleasing to God. I can't do it. My mental or my spirit would not allow me to. So after me and that second young lady, we must have dealt with each other almost a year. It wasn't even a year, I don't think. And when that was over, I used to do a little prank, like I met a woman and I was gonna, like, that nobody ain't seen. I used to go out and, cause I was doing the skits at that time. And I was doing skits like I was with somebody, but I never showed cameras on. And I used to talk about, oh, I'm bad, me and her this, me and her that. Anyway. But I was still lonely. I was getting old and I did not want to die alone. I wanted somebody in my life. I wanted somebody to love me. A couple of months before I met your mother, I don't know did I even tell your mother this or not. I called my ex-wife and I said, would you consider us getting back together? Just start going out on little dates and see can we work things out. She said, I don't mind going somewhere with you, but I'm not going to sleep with you. That made me so angry. I told her these words. I said, I've been in an 18-year sexual marriage, voted only to you. I would not go another day being in a relationship with you without being sexual active. And at that point, I made up my mind I was going to file for divorce. Even though I know the Bible says God hates divorces. And God says I can only have one wife. And I knew that God would not be pleased with me making love to anyone else or putting somebody else's salvation in jeopardy to satisfy my flesh. So she said, we're not gonna be sexual active. I was so mad. I made up my mind that day I was gonna file for divorce. So I called me a lawyer, and I found out how much it cost, and I filed for a divorce. We ended up going to sign some paper, get some paperwork done, and divorce never was final yet for whatever reason. I don't know. I just stopped inquiring of it. But in the midst of after I'm waiting for my divorce, I had a friend named James Gardner in Fayetteville that we were trying to go in business, in the shrimping business together. And I used to travel down there on the weekends, and we used to go and do different things, trying to get the business started. Now remember what happened with the first lady that I was telling you about. I knew that I could never serve God being with someone else. But I did not want to die alone. And my wife said she was not an option. She was not going to be sexually active with me. So I knew that was dead. So then I'm condemned to a life of not pleasing God, not serving God in the manner which I should serve Him, not being faithful, or as I'm going to satisfy my flesh to find someone to love, to have someone to love me. Many people believe in divorce. Many people say God give them the right, or there's a reason why you cannot get divorced. I can use scriptures right now to go and tell you the scriptures that God said that only to death do you part. I'm not going to go into that because that ain't what this conversation is about. But I am going to go in it. Me and your mother going to make sure we go over them scriptures, if we agree or not about them. So, with this friend of mine that we were trying to get a fish business together. One day I was down there, he was telling me about this young lady that he said that he was engaged with or used to date or done had an affair with. However, they don't have the same story. Said that she was trying to get her RV converted into a food truck. And he told her that he knew somebody that could help her to do that. So one day we was going on coast, but we had to go and pick up your mama brother. And he was up from Florida staying at your mama house. So my friend called your mother and told her that the guy that he was telling her about that can help her with a food truck is out there in the car. She need to come down and see him. I'll let her tell you the story of that day, her version. I'll tell you my version. And what happened, my point of view. Hers gonna be a little different, maybe not. Anyway, that day I met your mother. We was talking. And she walking through the van. She was looking bad, baby. She was talking about she was going to work. She was looking trampy again. There your mama was looking trampy. But it was something about her. I don't know. I guess I seen beyond what the vision or that my eyes were seeing. And we was leaving out the park. And I know I shouldn't put this on there, but I'm going to put it on there. Because I got to be honest, baby. When we left out of that parking lot and finished talking to your mama, matter of fact, your mama told me, let's me and you swap numbers, because I don't want to have to go through these two knuckleheads to get in touch with you by getting my truck done. I want to be able to talk directly to you. So me and your mother has changed number. Your mother let me know that she was going to work and she didn't get off till 11 o'clock. So we was leaving out of the parking lot, me and my friend who said that he had an affair with your mama, or they was in a relationship, or whatever it was, however he explained it. I told him, I asked him this. I said, brother, I said, would you have a problem with me hitting that? And I said it just like that. He said, huh? I said, man, I want to hit that girl right there. He started laughing. He said, what? I said, man, I'm going to hit that girl right there. I said, you got a problem with it? He said, no. Go ahead. Do what you want to do. So later on that night, I don't know that I called your mother. Your mother called me. After she got off, she didn't get off till 11 o'clock. She called me. And the first thing I told her, I want to hit that. She told me, who you think I am? You think I'm that kind of girl? I said, I don't give you that kind of girl nut. I want some of that. That's just the way I talked to her when I first met her. And me and your mother got on the phone. And we started talking. I don't know how we got from I want to hit that to the word of God. I don't know how we got on a spiritual note. Me and your mother stayed on the phone till almost 3 o'clock that morning. From 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I think it might even 3:30. And your mother told me, we was talking on the phone, we just talking about God. We just talking about God, we just talking about God. And she said, let me get off this phone. She said, I'm going to church in the morning. I'll take my granddaughter to church. I said, girl, if I had some clothes, I'll go with you. She said, what you have? I said, I got a pair of black pants and a shirt. She said, that's fine. You can wear that to church. Come on and go. I'll come and pick you up. I woke up the next morning because my buddy had to come in the room and tell me to hold it down because I was getting so loud when we were talking about God, because my voice rises when I talk about the goodness of God and my relationship with God. But anyway, me and your mother talked, like I said, and I woke up that next morning. I told that same guy that I said that I'm going to hit that. I said, man, I can't do that to that girl. I said, man, I like that girl. I said, yeah, I said, I can't do that to her. I said, man, that girl is special. He said, huh? I said, man, I can't do that. I can't just hit that girl right there. I said, man, it's something about that girl is special. I like that girl. So me and your mother went to church. Her and your little niece. And we sat in there and we had a nice little time. What's called? It's funny. When we got out of church, she asked me what I thought about it. And I said, oh, ain't that kind of like a... She said, yeah, because it seemed like a... what she said? Like a pep rally. She said it was like a pep rally, something like that. She said that was the kind of service was. And she took me to the house, to my friend's house. From that day on, me and your mother talked on the phone. Every break she got. That was August the 13th, I think. 13th or 16th that we met. 13th.
And I had 2 jobs.
And she had 2 jobs. And every time she got a break, she would call me.
A full-time and a part-time.
She said she had a full-time and a part-time job. And she would call me. But in the cities of Judah dwelt everyone in his possession in their city. And I told her, me and her used to talk, and we used to talk about getting together. And she said, Lynn, I would like to take you on a movie, a dinner and a movie to Myrtle Beach. I said, okay, that's fine. She said, but we're gonna have to get 2 rooms, separate rooms. I said, oh no, we ain't. I said, I said, I might not touch you, but we ain't getting no separate rooms. She said, Neil, I don't know who you think I am. We're gonna get separate rooms. I said, no, we're not. The dinner and the movie never happened. And she was so determined that she was not gonna give in to me. But eventually she did. I'm not gonna go into detail how she did, but I did told you she did me. One came in and took a shower and took off her towel and someone give her a massage, and that's how our romantic part started. The next week, it was my next week. No, the same week that we had. No, it wasn't. It was the next week was my birthday, or 2 weeks later was my birthday. The next time I went down there to my buddy house for the fishing part, and me and your mother got together, and me and your mother started making plans like we was gonna spend the rest of our life together. We already started looking for property down there, and we were gonna do this and we were gonna do that. And your mother posted me and Sweetness handling business. That was that Saturday morning of my birthday. It was going to be that Monday. So that's after that Saturday, I went to the coast to be with my buddy on the boat. And I told them that I was leaving to go back home, but I went back to Fayetteville to spend my birthday with your mother. And we spent that Sunday night together. And that Monday morning, she got up, got dressed, and went to work. So I ended up leaving to come home on that Monday. I must have left down there from about 12 o'clock. Your mother got off her first job. She didn't have to go to her second job that Monday. And she called me after she got off. She was heading home. And she said, Lynn, hold up. While me and her was talking on the phone. I mean, I just got home maybe an hour or two before she called from Fayetteville. She was just getting off to work because it's 2.5 hours. So I left at 12:01. So I just getting home. She got off at 3:30. She called me. She said, hold up, Lynn, something happened. I said, what? She said, hold up, let me check it. Let me say something happened. I said, okay. And I'm waiting for your mother to call me back. And when she called me back, it must have been about 45 minutes later, maybe close to an hour, but it wasn't no more than an hour. I said, what's going on? She said, I'm on my way to South Carolina. I said, what you mean by you on the way to South Carolina? She said, I'm on my way to South Carolina. I said, what's going on? Her husband seen the post where she said that her and Sweetness was out handling business. They done been divorced for several years. He threatened her that she cannot be with another man because they were soul ties. I guess that's what he was speaking of. That they was connected in a manner that she could never be with no one else but him. But he can be with whoever he want to be with. Your mother left her job, her children, her grandkids, with just her clothes on her back and came to South Carolina. Left everything and everyone she loved because she was threatened. She was scared for her life that her ex-husband was gonna kill her or hurt her. She got up here. I had a situation going on. I had somebody else staying in my place. I'm sleeping out on the porch because I had this family staying in the house, in my house. A young lady had lost a place, and she had 4 girls, and they didn't have no place. They was on the side of the road with all their stuff, and I put them in my place, and I slept on the porch on a futon, and it was getting cold. Started getting cold, and your mama came up and put them in a motel where me and her can go back in the house with her own money. That's the kind of heart your mother had. Me and your mother relationship started off so good. It was so good. But I already knew that God was not going to allow me to be with this woman. No much how much I love her. And I could not do God's work. Because me and her used to pray together. And we used to do spiritual things. And I called my brother. He's the pastor of the church he's the brother that I raised up in the church with, came in the church with, but he was starting his own, he had started another ministry that was a part of the organization that I was a part of. And I asked that brother, I texted him, I said, brother, what it is for a man of God to do when his wife leaves him and say she don't want to be with him. What his life is supposed to consist of. What is left for him to do. I got a woman that I'm crazy about. I love her. What can I do? How can I please God being with this woman? What it is for me to do. What is this for a man in my position that believe that you can only have one wife? What is it for him to do when he finds himself in a situation that his wife don't want him? I texted him. It took him 2 weeks to get back in touch with me. 2 long weeks. He finally texted me. And things did not go the way I thought it would. It didn't. He started telling me about him. He said, brother, you know, I've been in different relationships. And I was so focused on trying to get with the woman that I never considered about trying to get that woman's soul saved and getting her a relationship, helping her with a relationship with God. Only thing I was trying to do is satisfy my flesh. I did them women a missed service. He said, brother, the best thing that you can do for Melissa is help her to get closer with God, to know God. He said, you have to help her on that level and not about the sexual part. Brother, you need to focus on your relationship with God and helping her to get closer with God together. And y'all leave that flesh alone. Man, you don't know. Man, being with Melissa was, I ain't want to let that go. I didn't want to let it go. So me and Melissa we kept on trying to read, do little Bible studies, trying to keep something spiritual going. But after I heard what that brother said, God was never going to let me rest. For some reason, after that conversation, me and Melissa started having little problems. It never no argument or fussing or nothing of that nature. But there was something coming in between of me and Melissa. From that night, our relationship never been the same since. It came to a point that our sexual life ended. I'm not going in all the details of how most of our sexual life took a turn to me for worse. But you know, a woman is different than a man. Some women are. Melissa always tried to get me to do spiritual things, and I couldn't. For some reason, I could not get into the spiritual part with her anymore. After that brother told me what he said, I couldn't. She would try her best. Baby, let's do this. Let's study. Let's read. Let's do this. And I could not do it. God would not allow me. After I was told what I needed to do and being disobedient, he would not allow me to get spiritual with Melissa too much more. I want to tell you something that happened one night. One night we was in that sleep, and your mother woke me up. Something was bothering her. She woke me up. She said, Lynn, I need you to pray for me. I said, okay. I did. I said, okay. I grabbed her, put my hand on her head, and started saying a prayer. Prayed for I don't know how long. And after I finished, I fell asleep. Went back to sleep. A moment, probably maybe an hour or longer, she woke me up again. She said, no, Lynn. Lynn, you need to pray for me a different way. She said, there's something bothering me. And you got the power to help me if you believe that you can help me. And I'm saying, huh? I'm listening to this woman. This woman telling me I got some kind of power. Me and her prayed many times. We pray in the spirit. We pray and what you call it? She said, no, Lynn, there's something in you that can help me. But you got to believe that you can help me. She said, Lynn, I've been searching for someone to help me. And I came up here and I realized you are the one to help me. Man, this woman here. But I believe what she said. And I prayed for her in the spirit, laying hands on her. And what happened that night blew my mind, but it scared the daylights out of me. It scared me because I never seen nothing like that before in person. I never seen nothing like that. I heard stories, but I never seen something like that happen. And from that day on, every now and then she would ask me to pray for her. When I put my hands on that woman and start praying in the spirit, she would pass out. She will go into convulsions. And I got to the point to I almost stopped praying for her. We got to a point that we stopped doing it. But we was doing it for a couple of months. It's been a while. We kept on praying. And I kept trying to But as I prayed for her, I was being attacked at night by something. Lord knows I don't know what it was. But I was fighting against some kind of spirit will come upon me while I'm asleep. and me and her will be fighting on different nights for almost how long, baby? For about a week or two. For about a week or two, we were fighting with some kind of dark spirit in this house. And I try to say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. Because I mean, it wakes me up out of my sleep. It was something on attack of me. But her husband believed in working different kind of spirits. And we have heard stories, her daughter have told us stories about what her husband was trying to work against us. Spiritual things. So I'm telling you to tell you this. The night when I told you of Halloween, that I was telling you what happened, I said I did not tell the full story. Your mother came to me, not this Sunday. It was last Sunday. It was last Sunday, before the incident happened. Your mother and I both went to church, and I was trying to get up and go to church, and your mama dragging. And I keep telling her, come on, I don't want to be late. I don't want to get there after the man of God and get up for it. I kept telling her, I don't want to be late. She's dragging her feet. I'm getting angry and angry. And your sister, Yana, came down. She was already ready. Your mama still ain't ready. She finally got ready. We got in the car. I'm heading to church. They tell me, you can't take me to church. You got to take Yana up to KFC because she got to take her application to KFC. That I was furious. I'm already late, waiting on your mama. And I got to be late because they want to take.
What was I doing? Washing the baby? Feeding
She
the
was
baby?
washing. Yeah, you were doing what she was doing, but she still had me late. And I was furious. I was so mad. So Lord kept telling me, just be calm, go ahead and do it. And the whole time I said, you know what, I'm not going to church late. So we had to pass the house going back to the church. I got out at the driveway. I said, I'm not going in late. So when your mom and them got to church, she gonna do a live thing on Facebook and said, showing that people were still singing, the pastor went up. I know she did it for my purpose, for she can say that, see that you got, but her and her daughter said, look how Lynn acted, and he wasn't even late. So your mother went to church, and your mama came home that Sunday night. I don't know if it was Sunday night or early Monday morning. Your mama asked me these questions. Lynn, are we going to serve God together? I wouldn't answer. I didn't answer that night. I think it was that Monday morning. That was that Monday morning, baby. Mm-hmm. Whenever day I said that I seen my brother on the side of the road. It had to have been that Tuesday, because Monday night I had to go to the hospital. So it had to be that Tuesday night. Tuesday, your mama asked me again. I was coming home after I just told her, baby, I done a terrible thing. When she asked me what, I said, I saw my brother broke down on the road, and I didn't help him. And it beat me up so bad that I done a terrible thing. I said, I shouldn't have done that. I said, baby, I'm gonna get me something to eat. I'm hungry. I'm feeling bad. I said, you want something to eat? I was heading home. When I was heading home, coming down the road, getting close to the house, less than 2 minutes away from the house, your mama asked me these questions. She said, Lynn, are we going to serve God together? As God is my witness, as soon as your mama asked me are we going to serve God together? God told me you cannot serve me. Put that woman and child away. To serve me, you must put them away. I said to God, I will not put them away to serve you. Without thinking, that's the first thing I said, Lord, I will not put them away to serve you. Then I tried to play back, I'm sorry, Lord, I'm sorry. I said, Lord, only way that I can put her away, only way I can get rid of her, or only way that I can put her away. I said, Lord, something got to happen way that she would never want to see me again. I said, that's the only way, Lord, that I'll be strong enough not to be with her. I love her. I said, Lord, something got to happen that she would never want to see me again. I would never tell your mama what God said. I'm trying to rationalize with God and tell God, trying to play back, Lord, I'm sorry that I said that. But Lord, I love her so much. My love for her is too strong. I want to be with her and my child.
But wait, you tell me what I asked you. You do this and you do that.
I told her, I said, Melissa, you don't do what I want you to do. I'm not going to serve me and you're not going to serve God. How can you tell someone you love that asks you to serve God, that God said you have to put her and your child away? So that's what I thought God was saying. Matter of fact, I knew that was God said. And I told God no. And I try to make up all kind of reasons with God why I would not put them away. But I did tell Lord, only way we can be not together, I must do something. Or something got to happen where she never want to see me again. 2 days later, the next day, the incident with your sister happened.
Well, what did I text you Monday?
It happened. It happened. Something happened with it. If it happened the way it was, your mother never wanted to see me again. I'm about to run out of time, but I got to tell you the rest of the story. But this is the old man, and I'm fit to do number 2 as soon as I post this one, to tell you the rest of the story. God told me to put you and your mother away, and I told him I would not do it to serve you. And what happened with your sister happened the following day. Till the next time, the old man, peace out.